Good morning, everyone. Today, I'll be covering one LAQ, which is enumerate and explain all the possible complications of extraction with management. So, if we see the complications of extraction, so it is divided into two categories, which is the complications occurring during the surgical procedure, and next is the post-operative complications. So I'll enumerate the pre-surgical, like the complications occurring during surgical procedures, which are soft tissue injury, extraction of wrong tooth, fracture of alveolus or the tuberosity, fracture of teeth, displacement of tooth into the maxillary sinus, creation of oroantral communication, breakage of the instrument while operating, luxation of adjacent tooth, injury to the nerves, swallowing of tooth, fracture of mandible, condyle dislocation, and aspiration of the teeth. Now, if we move on to the post surgical complications, it would be hemorrhage, presence of bony spicules, dry socket, and infection. Now, I'll just explain the management of each complication. First, the complications occurring during the surgical procedure. The first one is soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries can be of three types, that is abrasion, thermal injury, and mucosal tear. Thermal injuries are caused when the heated instruments are used immediately after autoclaving. And mucosal tear can be caused due to improper use of instrument, due to excessive use application of forces. And if we move on to the management, so management can be done by suturing. Suturing is done when a large wound is created. And for curing of the scars which are caused due to thermal injuries, it could be treated by petroleum jelly or application of analgesics topically. And even we can prescribe with antiseptics. The next complication is extraction of the wrong tooth. The management of this complication is we should immediately inform the patient. Then we should try to replace the tooth in the socket as soon as possible, and then splinting is done. If splinting is not possible immediately, then it should be placed in saliva, like we can place the tooth in the buccal vestibule. Or if this is not possible, then we can store the tooth in milk or water. And then after this, we should place the tooth in the socket, and then splinting is done. And after splinting, we have to wait for 7 days, and then follow-up is done. In the follow-up, it is done according to the necrosis of the tooth. If necrosis of the tooth occurs, then it is followed by root canal treatment. And if necrosis is not present, then normal follow-ups are done, and then it is accordingly it is followed up. The next complication is fracture of tooth or tooth root. These It can be caused by improper application of forces, improper application of wrong forceps, extensively carious tooth, root canal treated tooth. As the tooth becomes weak due to root canal treatment, so fracture occurs. Then ankylosed or hypercementosed root. It could be prevented by assessing the shape, degree of caries, and the surrounding bone structure radiographically before the treatment, that is, before the extraction. Then it can also be prevented by proper application of forceps and techniques, and if proper application of force is used. Then management of this can be done by complete removal of the broken root pieces, because if the root piece is left in the socket, then it will cause infection and further complications. So it has to be removed. And if intraoral extraction is not feasible, then transalveolar techniques is used for the removal of the broken tooth or the root piece. The next complication is fracture of the alveolus. It could be prevented again by radiographic assessment of the tooth and the surrounding alveolar structures. Then the force application should be proper, so as in excessive forces should not be applied. And while extraction, the proper support to the alveolus should be given. Then management is fragment is removed if detached from the periosteum. If it means that if the fracture of the alveolus is very small, then it is removed along with the periosteum. And if the bone fragment is attached to the periosteum or it's large, then it is placed back and the flap is closed. The next complication is fracture of tuberosity. It is managed according to the size of the fragment of the tuberosity. That is, if a very small fracture is there, then a flap is raised and the fragment is removed along with the tooth. And if large fragment is there, then and it is attached to the periosteum, mucoperiosteum, then it is replaced and splintered. Then analgesics, antibiotics, and nasal drops are given accordingly if the antrum is involved, and removal of the tooth is done after the healing of the fractured site. The next complication is luxation of the adjacent tooth. It could be prevented by using proper technique and by supporting the adjacent teeth while extraction. The management can be done by reposition of the tooth in the socket and splinting accordingly. And if the tooth undergoes a necrosis, then endodontic treatment can be done. Mostly the endodontic treatment is initiated after 1 week. Then the next complication is injury to the nerves. This could be prevented by radiographic assessment. Like we can see if the mandibular nerve, if we take the inferior alveolar nerve into consideration, then we have to check the proximity of the mandibular canal to the tooth, which we are extracting. Then management could be of two types, like non-surgical and surgical. Non-surgical is only by delaying the procedure and waiting for the nerve to heal on its own. And surgical procedure is if the nerve doesn't heal non-surgically, then decompression, if in impingement of nerve present, then micro neurovascular surgery is done. The next complication is fracture of mandible. It could be prevented by pre-assessment of bone density and the type of impaction. Then proper support of the jaw is essential while extraction, and proper and adequate application of forces is essential. The management could be done like first we have to inform and assure the patient, and then after that ORIF fractures healing could be done accordingly. Then the next complication is displacement of the tooth into maxillary sinus. It could be prevented by pre-operative radiograph to assess the root of proximity to the sinus and support the jaw and alveolus before extraction. Then proper application of forces. Now management could be in steps. First, we have to confirm the location of the tooth in the sinus. For this, we have to take a radiograph. And then a powerful suction is used to remove the tooth. We can even use the roller gauze method. Then if all these procedures doesn't work, then we have to proceed with Cardwell-Luke operation. The next complication is creation of oroantral fistula. For oroantral fistula, we can like investigate it or confirm oroantral fistula by several investigations, which are probing, nose blowing test, mouth mirror test, suction test. And the management could be like we have to leave the clot in place without disturbing, and then antibiotics, analgesics, nasal decongestants, and nasal drops are prescribed. If these things doesn't work, then surgical closure is applicable or required if the defect is very large. So for surgical closure, there are certain flaps which are used, like buccal flap, palatal flap, or buccal pad of fat. The next complication is dislocation of the condyle. Dislocation of the condyle can be managed by, first we have to take a radiograph, and then we have to proceed with manual reduction. Manual reduction can be done in anterior displacement cases. It could be done by downward pressure on the retromolar area and simultaneous upward pressure on the chin. If the dislocation is long-standing, then traction of the mandibular ramus can be done. If the dislocation is recurrent, then it could be treated by barrel bandages. and the reduction of simple condylar dislocation can be done in two ways. Only analgesics can be given, or if this doesn't work, then combination of analgesia with infiltration of LA into the periarticular articular tissues can be done. Now we'll proceed on to the post-surgical complications. Post-surgical complications are infection plus bony spicules. Infection could be caused due to infected needle, contaminated LA solution, or inadequate aseptic preparation. And management could be done by prescribing antibiotics. Then bony spicules can be prevented by checking the socket for any sharp edges before closure. And management could be done by filing or removal of bony spicules. Now, the next complication is hemorrhage. Hemorrhage could be primary, reactionary, or secondary. It could be prevented by taking proper medical history and proper investigations if required. Then management could be done by digital pressure for 2 to 3 minutes. If the bleeding doesn't stop, then pack are applied on the socket like bone wax, gel form. And if the bleeding continues further, then associated blood vessels are ligated. Now, the next and a very important complication is dry socket. Dry socket is a post-operative pain in and around the dental alveolus, which increases in severity at some moment between the first and third day after dental extraction, accompanied by partial or total disintegration of the intraalveolar clot, causing foul smell. So we'll directly move on to the management of dry socket. Firstly, we have to take a radiograph and check for the presence of root fragments of foreign body. And then we have to irrigate the socket with 0.12% warmed chlorhexidine. Then intra-alveolar paste of zinc oxide, eugenol, anesthetic, and antibiotic, mostly metronidazole is used, is placed in the socket. Then while placing this pack, we should take care that pressure should not be exerted on the socket. Then we have to prescribe NSAIDs for managing pain, and a follow-up should be done until the socket heals. Thank you.